bin's wieder, okay, so nahe Haram. Hier mit meinem Let's Play von Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Und nachdem wir beim letzten Part so, oh Gott, so emotional wurden, gilt es jetzt an der Zeit, mal die wirkliche Wahrheit herauszufinden und Athena endlich zu erlösen von dieser Last, dieser angeblichen Schuld, dass sie ihre Mutter umgebracht haben könnte, bla. Nachdem der Richter erstmal wieder alle angeschrien hat. Mit Zitronenbonbon. Das gab's schon lange nicht mehr, weil ich blöd bin und vergesslich. Ich könnte so lustig sein, aber ich mache es nicht, weil ich alles vergesse. Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone, using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything? Come again? What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife? Don't be ridiculous! Are you changing the premise of your entire argument? I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away. That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence! If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand. For you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court!
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalled stabbing someone with her own hands? No. It matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother. I don't believe it! Why? Why does it keep happening? Every time I find contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if... Now you're finally starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth? No! I don't want to believe it! It can't be true! But what if... Mr. Wright! You fought a good fight! I think you've done all you can do! Is giving up really the only option? No! Snap out of it, Phoenix! What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt? I can't look back! Forward is the only way to go! No, Your Honor! Not yet! It isn't over yet! Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I always believe in her. To the very end! And defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix! If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case. Seriously! I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must mean what Ponko witnessed as Athena's huge. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? Niemand anderes. If I trust in Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two then. But then, how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know! This person must fool Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering das eigene Gesicht. Hat sein Gesicht versteckt. But wait a minute. Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would still detect their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it! The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. Hat sich einfach als Dr. Sykes ausgegeben. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition feature. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Man brauchte eigentlich nichts weiter als ihre eigene Jacke. Man hat das am Beispiel von Klonko und Apollo gesehen, der Apollo für Clay gehalten hat, nur weil er seine Jacke getragen hat. The culprit could pose as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? Na, natürlich. Den wahren Mörder. That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit! Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You're absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth! I hereby... Objection! I didn't say I was finished! I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking, I had to take a break to digest it. But now, I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me! She witnessed the moment of the crime! Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the huge. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection.
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statement, there was no third person here. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab of time?
Objection.
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Huh, you make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Clunker's strange malfunction. Mr. Turan, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Turan? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clunker couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection.
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does that mean? Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed. This third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. But that's... I'm impossible! A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order! Order in the court! With citronenbonbons! Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Yes, I remember, Athena, what is it? I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head. Miss Sykes, are you alright? No! The Black Cyclops! They're breaking! It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... It's all right. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there! A man?!
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor! Go on, Athena. Sehr nett! Sehr nett! He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... he dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me and I passed out. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab. Oh, this mask hanging here on the wall! It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged. And that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has... You see? This is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell! This is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess' groggy little head? She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and huged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise, Right! Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Ja, gibt es. Wir müssen uns nur noch mal dieses Video genauer angucken. Und zwar nicht im Moment, wo Blackwell abgehauen ist. This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident at around 3 p.m. So, what I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Very well then! Let's take a look! There! Please stop it right there! It's just like you said! There is a man leaving the scene of the crime! Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him! I'm sure of it! He's wearing my mother's jacket! I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display, that was Dr. Sykes? Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere. So then, everything Miss Sykes said! Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and masks that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection.
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that it's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket and the scene confirms beyond doubt that it belongs to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? Naja, der Mörder hat es einfach wieder dorthin zurückgebracht. So einfach ist das. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal the fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection.
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? A puzzling question indeed! When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? Naja, als die Leiche gefunden wurde. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the two culprits of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that! Order! Zitronenbonbon Ruhe! What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the HAT-1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with the theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth! Does this mean? I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You mean you win, right? Not that this was ever an official trial anyway. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding? Is it true, boss? Does this mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won! I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell are innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right! I'm the one who's supposed to say I see no need to further prolong. Not you either, Your Honor. Now, silence. The little princess who was truly beloved by Metis and who repaid that love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that's kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell.
How unlike you, Aura. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner. Isn't that—
Shut up, Simon!
You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted.
Then what did you want from her? Yuri Power FTV! Did you really just go there, Your Honor?
Aura, there's something I've wanted to say, if you will lend me an ear. I have my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is.
You do?
Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past.
That's right. The Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars.
7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the HAT-1 rocket.
The spy.
But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him, his background, appearance. We came to refer to him as The Phantom. At the time, I was working with the police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred and I obtained a lead on him.
Oh, how exciting! What was the lead?
A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology.
And that scientist was Dr. Sykes.
Yes, a spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Head 1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording were surely among his targets. But his search of the Space Center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic.
We couldn't find them! But where could they have been?
Who is to say?
Wow, I bet he's never let that out of his sight all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison?
Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing.
Ach nee. Danke, Taka. Gut gemacht, braver Vogel.
I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases to attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt.
And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information?
Here, you can see for yourself. But take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor.
I will. I'd better hold on to this real tight. Danke, Blackwell. Damit kriegen wir ihn. Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of this voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh?
A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness, no anger, and naturally no fear. He is the very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives and set what ails us all into motion.
The Phantom indeed. A fitting name for the one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then! It seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we have learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end.
Whatever. Do what you want.
Danke, Aura, danke. Endlich akzeptierst du es. You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Very well, in that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. Sei mal etwas glücklicher, Simon. Du bist frei, du Spast. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Mr. Sina Sykes. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. Athena, you're more than welcome. If everyone is ready, I will now give my verdict. Was? You! Polly! Polly! Apollo! What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I can't allow this trial to end just yet. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? Wie gesagt, wäre ja auch sonst zu einfach, das Ganze. Denn jetzt muckt auch noch Apollo auf. Apollo! Why? Aber okay. Somit haben wir es soweit erstmal geschafft. Und dann geht es beim nächsten Mal wirklich zum finalen Akt des Ganzen. Und dann werden wir endlich diesen Mistkerl schnappen, der uns das alles angetan hat. Egal ob positiv oder negativ, Bewertung immer gern gesehen. Das war's von meiner Seite und wir sehen uns das nächste Mal wieder. See ya, guys.